Hello, today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2020. My name is Daniel Mullany, and behind the camera is Caitlin Yates. We are here to film a video source inspection for SciTech Process Solutions. Today we'll be viewing a fully refurbished ST-840 double stack refurbished semi-tool SRD. This is an ST model, 2 chambers, set up for running 3-inch substrates, and these rotors are balanced for 13 to 25 wafers. Our customer is located in California, and their PO number is P155845. So I will first go over the configuration as I just mentioned, then I'll start the both chambers. We'll process them simultaneously, and I will then also describe our refurbishment process and some of our spare part offerings for the system while the tool is running. So first, we're going to take a look at this top chamber. Everything looks great. As you can see, the system has been fully refurbished. Here we have the substrates and the cassette loaded. These cassettes these rotors are balanced for 13 to 25 wafers. We have 25 wafers here right now, so I'll just be demonstrating a partial load in both rotors. But both rotors are balanced well. Here we have another partial load. Again, another refurbished chamber. It's a little awkward putting it in sideways. There we go. Okay, and this one slides in okay. I can feel the system is purging properly in between steps. Okay, now taking a look here underneath before we get started. All right, here we have both of our refurbished 328 controllers. These controllers are capable of a rinse, purge, dry process. The purge isn't listed because it's automatically programmed in, this is the normal configuration for a system like this. Here we're going to be drying for 300 seconds along with a 60-second rinse, and that'll give us perfectly dry substrates. Oh. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start the top chamber, and now we'll start the bottom chamber. Both of these chambers, but this SRD has been fully remanufactured by SciTech. Every SRD that we sell goes through the same extensive refurbishment process. First, we'll take a core system and we'll break it down to the component level. That means we're going to disassemble the system entirely. We're going to remove both head assemblies, remove the bowls, disassemble all the metal. We're going to rebuild all the valves. We're going to rebuild the rotor stop positioner, the motor. Every component that can be rebuilt and every piece that can be broken down, we go through and we will then clean up the system in order to build it up to the form requested by the customer. In this case, that form is an ST-840. So when the system's broken down, we're going to be electropolishing all the metal as long as chemically cleaning it. We will also bead blast the bowls in order to remove any surface contaminants that may have lingered from previous processes. That will be followed by an electropolish procedure in order to get a nice finish inside the chamber. And once the machine is fully prepped, we're going to first build up the individual head assemblies, the top and the bottom, and then they're going to go through a series of what we call dry testing. This is where we're going to confirm that the system is manufactured properly, follows all the proper electrical specs, that the nitrogen flow is proper, and that the system overall operates properly with the motor speed, the controller functions, prior to any water being hooked up to it. Once we complete our dry test, we're going to move into what we call wet testing. There we're going to provide quality control for all of the water fluid path that the system has. We're going to ensure that all the valves are operating the DI properly, that the flow rate in this chamber is proper, and that the drain is working well in addition. Once the system completes the wet and dry test, we will assemble it into the final configuration, which you see in front of you. Once in its final configuration, we go through our final testing procedure. And in final testing, we are going to ensure that the system is ready for installation into the fab, and it's going to start up the way that you expect. So we're going to be running a variety of different process recipes. We're going to be exercising the system for over 50 process runs, Again, using a whole variety of processes to ensure that whatever RPM set points you prefer to run at, that the system meets and runs at them correctly. Once we complete all of our testing, we're going to film a video source inspection and upload it to the web for our customers to view prior to shipment. That is the process that we are currently handling right now. So, taking a look at our system, we are now completed with dry 1 on both head assemblies. Dry 1 is the high RPM first dry step, where we're going to spin at around 1800 RPM and physically sling the majority of the water off of the rotor and the cassette and substrates. We then move into dry 2, which is where we are now. Dry 2 is going to be a much longer dry time at a lower RPM that allows the heating elements to dry the cassette and substrates thoroughly. So the idea is you want to first mechanically, physically sling the majority of the water off. Then we're going to use the heating elements to give a nice uniform dry. That is tried and true to be the most effective way to spin rinse dry, and we follow that procedure here. Okay, everything is still looking good. I can see the chambers are starting to dry up now, and the front substrates on both top and bottom look dry. Taking a look now, see how our controllers are functioning as well. Oh, have that. There we go. All right, taking a look, and everything looks good here too. So what you can do as well is with these systems, you can adjust the RPM in real time. So for example, on the top head assembly, if I wanted to increase the RPM a little bit, I can turn this knob right here. I just did it with a full 360. There you go. See, now it's creeping up a little more in RPM. It's not too sensitive for the high RPM, so it takes a couple full turns to actually adjust the RPM. Still adjusting up. Okay, now we're at about a 600 RPM set point, and that looks a little more appropriate for an actual process application in the fab. The bottom head assembly looks appropriate as well. And yeah, so now I let the needles settle. It takes a second for these needles to settle. They're a little bit older technology, but now that it's settled, I can see that we are about 650 RPM on the top as well as the bottom, and that matches up for what I was seeing. Really what I saw was that the RPM looked a little slow on the top, and when I opened the chamber, I noticed that the set point for one of the controllers was closer to about 300 RPM. And so we want to run a little bit faster than that with normal application. That's not to say that you can still run at a lower RPM for whatever you've determined to be the most effective process for processing your substrates. This is just the typical process that we would recommend as a good starting point. So we have about 90 seconds left on both head assemblies, and in addition to providing fully refurbished and remanufactured high-quality SRDs to the semiconductor marketplace, we also offer 100% of the spare parts and services required to keep SRDs up and running. So we sell every single spare part. That means windows, door seals, motors, rotor stop positioners, solenoid valves, pneumatic valves. I might have mentioned the heaters, but both of the heaters, every spare part required, SciTech offers. We also offer all of the services required to keep your tool running. Those are most commonly motor repairs, rotor rebalancing, controller repairs, and motor controller repairs. Now this system has the motor controller built into the controller, so that would just be a normal controller repair, but for other models that do have the amplifiers, we repair those as well. Alright, so we are now completed with our dry time. So checking the first chamber here, this N2 is blowing in hot, which is good. And the cassette and substrates are perfectly dry. Taking a look at our chamber, we have a little bit of water left over in the chamber. That's good for the way our process is designed. In an ideal situation, you want a few drops of water left. That lets you know that you didn't dry the chamber really bone dry and excite particles, but you did dry your substrates in the center, which is what really counts. So now checking the second chamber, the N2 is purging in hot, which is good. And our cassette and substrates are dry, ready for the next step in your process. So this was a successful demonstration of the SRD operation today. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to view it. Again, my name is Daniel Mullany, and behind the camera is Caitlin Yates. We filmed this video source inspection for SciTech Process Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about this piece of equipment or other equipment that we sell and service, please give us a call at 916-797-9000, and to reach me directly, dial extension 2201. You can also visit our website at www.scitechprocess.com, spelled S-I-T-E-K, process.com. Thank you so much for viewing today, and I hope you have a great day.